Digital gramophone makes no sense.
Hey guys, it's John. Here with another video. Tonight's pandemic relief moment is brought to you by Old Mecklenburg Brewery. And their German style alt beer, Copper, which is very good. One of my favorites. It's pretty popular beer around here in Charlotte. Some people prefer the hipper, smaller craft breweries, and I say that's a load of horse shit. Even though I like a lot of those beers, Old Mecklenburg Brewery's been around the longest, and they make really good stuff. I've been thinking about how, we're on lockdown, self-quarantining, practicing mitigation, whatever you want to call it, and we're with our families all day long. So I don't know, I just thought in honor of that, or being inspired by that, thinking about my kids, and not having to drive you guys crazy again by putting Sam on camera or whatever. I thought that an interesting idea that's not really related to records but to music is some of the children's books that we've acquired over the years, for Sam, and then eventually for Inez, and I don't know, I just thought it might be a cool thing to show. I don't know how many parents are really out there in the VC really with young kids. I know of a few. There seems like there have been more that have gone away because they had kids. And yet I'm the maniac with two young ones that is somehow doing this deadbeat dad or what, I don't know. But yeah, the majority of the people in the VC either don't have kids or their kids are grown. So I don't really know if this applies to anybody. But I'm gonna do it anyway, and it might give you guys some good gift ideas or something. Let's start with some of these books are really just a song that someone has done illustrations for, and two in particular that we have are Bob Dylan songs. The first one being Forever Young. As you see, illustrated by a guy named Paul Rogers. And this is a very cool book, because not only are the illustrations kind of perfectly retro, they really fit into that early 60s into the mid 60s kind of time frame of illustration style. The visual story is that this kind of Woody Guthrie-esque guy right here, you see that kid looking at him, he gives his guitar to the kid, and then that kid goes on his own adventures, and they all are very similar to the adventures of Mr. Bobby D. There's some activism there. Yeah, and then at the very end, here's the young man grown up with a little girl. He gives the guitar to the little girl. So yeah, it's a very cool book. It was given to me by my sister, who had bought it for her daughter, my niece, and she used to sing Forever Young to my niece every night as a small child. The other Dylan book is If Not For You. And you can kind of tell what's going on there in the cover. And then what that kind of leads to is it leads to your child asking, hey, what is that song, you know? Or you can say, hey, you remember that book that I read to you? Here's the song that book was inspired by. This one's kind of goofy, but it was sanctioned by Ringo himself, and it's Octopus's Garden. The illustration style is not as cool in this one, but it's interesting, you know. A lot of people hate that song. I don't think it's bad. I think it's got a good little riff to it, and you know, I don't slag on Ringo the way a lot of other people do, and I'm not a Beatle maniac. Cool little book. Came with a CD. Sam had already liked that song before we discovered that there was a book. And this one is really cool. It's John Lennon's Imagine. And this was published in partnership with Amnesty International. So you see there's a dove with an olive branch on the cover. And the illustrations are really, really cool. Very metaphorical. And Sam is kind of a bit logical. So you always kind of have to explain things to him directly, and a lot of these you can't really, you know, because they're just metaphors, but they're really cool. It's also interesting, you know, these lyrics, you know, nothing to kill or die for and no religion too, which is not a problem for me and my wife, but you know, kind of deep lyrics for a 2, 3, 4-year-old. So we haven't read this one as much. It doesn't really grab him either, but I think it's a very cool book. Now this one he loves, and I bought this one from Third Man. They illustrated a book for the song We're Going to Be Friends, which is obviously a very fun White Stripes tune. It was in collaboration with an illustrator named Eleanor Blake, and it's these illustrations are super cool. It's all black, white, and red, but look at this. Brand new shoes, walking blues. Come on. I mean, it's an excellent illustrated book. A combination of drawing and, you know, kind of photocopy. Look at that. I love it. And Sam does too. He's always thought it was super fun. Look at this so he loves bugs. So look, there's a little bug playing a guitar. You know, so they kept it very fun. And I think that they did a really good job of it. But yeah, We're Going to Be Friends. They also made these two into dolls, and I got those for him. Well, being a excited new parent, I went online and started looking for stuff to get Sam before he was even born. And I bought this book called What is Punk? And it's very, very cool book. All of the artwork is clay. It's in clay. And it's an honest history of punk and a definition of punk. It was punk, and it has everybody in there. There's CBGBs with Deborah Harry and David Byrne and Tom Verlaine, the Ramones. Iggy, Sex Pistols, The Clash, Susie and the Banshees, The Slits, the hardcore scene. I mean, look at Henry. Look at Henry. What? Where is he? Sorry. Look at Henry. It's a badass book, and it's written in a rhyme, so it works for kids. And, you know, honestly, I read this book to Sam. Look, even Misfits and Cries. I mean, come on. Bad Brains. It covers everybody. It's really actually thorough and very good. Yeah, I read this to Sam when he was like 1.5 years old. And when he could barely even talk, I remember one night he asked for the punk book. I want the punk book. I mean, it was great. Now that he's a little bit older, now he asks a lot more questions, obviously. So it's actually a little harder to read to him now that he's older. It was easier to read to him when he was younger. And I think it is obviously a book made for older kids. So I was just a little excited when I purchased this. But it is very cool. And honestly, I think even if, you know, even if you don't have kids, even if your kids are older, this is still just a fun book to have. Okay, and then some biography books. Here's one that I bought, and it's about Elizabeth Cotten, who is kind of the folk blues guitarist and singer, and it's all about her life. She grew up in North Carolina before she moved to DC, and then I think later ended up working for the Seeger family. And so yeah, I mean, this is a very cool book about just her life and how she got started playing guitar, and then how she had to put it down and picked it back up later as an older woman. And really wasn't discovered until she was elderly. But yeah, Elizabeth Cotten, a lot of you guys already know who that is. Should, if you don't. I just read that one to Sam for the first time. You know, I've had it for a while, but I was waiting for him to get a little older. And then, you know, and then I would read him the book, and then I'd play him a video of her playing. And then I found a video of her playing with Pete Seeger, and then he wanted to know about Pete Seeger too, so which led to the Birds. It's just how it goes, you know, and it's fun. So we have a subscription to the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, which is her charitable organization. She sends free books to kids. But we also, we're just a Dolly household, and my wife found out about this book. And it's a series of books called Little People, Big Dreams. And they're all biographical books on, I mean, all kinds of people. So Taylor bought this one about Dolly Parton because she had been playing some Dolly for Sam. She's also been listening to the Dolly Parton's America podcast, which is really good. I wouldn't suggest it for everybody, but it's very good. This is a really great biographical book. It goes through how she started as a child, as a younger girl singing, and then got married, and then met Porter Wagner, and then went out on her own, and then became a pop crossover star, where she sang with, as the book says, some of the most amazing artists of her time, like Kenny Rogers. Rest in peace, Kenny. It's a bit of an overstatement. But hey, I love that song. That's a great song. And so we kind of looked to see who some of the other ones were. Ella Fitzgerald, a David Bowie one. And that, obviously, if you'd seen my video where I did with Sam, you know that he's really into David Bowie. So we were really excited that they printed this. It's one of the newer ones. So yeah, we were really stoked about that one. It's more than just about the musician. It's there's a theme to each one. Excuse me. The Bowie one kind of obviously being, you know, that he was just an individual like none other, you know, and really preaches being who you are. Ella Fitzgerald kind of has a story of perseverance, losing her mother when she was young, and then having to be sent to like a boarding school where she quit to work the street corners to make money. And then Dolly's of just being, you know, a dreamer, you know, and really just kind of following your dreams and never telling yourself that you can't accomplish, you know, that cliche shit of, you know, if you believe in yourself, you can do anything, you know. But it's I mean, she's a perfect example of that. So that's it. I don't know. I just thought that might be fun and interesting. I don't care if nobody watches it. Hopefully somebody gets something out of it. I don't know. We'll see. All right, guys. Well, that's it. Take care.